Welcome back to the channel, friends. Guys, sometimes I have a problem where things come into the shop to be repaired that are so quick and yet I think sometimes interesting that I have a hard time making a full-fledged video out of. So I came up with something new. Let's call it Turbo Tuesday. A series of quick videos, quick repairs that are all lumped in the same video for your enjoyment. So today, we're going to look at this beautiful Commodore 128. We're going to look at an SSD card with a broken connector. We're going to look at an Atari VCS with poor video quality. And we're going to try our hand in upgrading a Game Gear with an IPS screen from China. So without further ado, welcome to the first episode of Turbo Tuesday. Yeah, like I said in the introduction, guys, this is a really nice Commodore 128, really good condition. Customer comes in and says, I don't know what happened. I pulled it out of the basement after years and the screen is empty. And, this could happen with Commodores 128s or 64s when the basic kernel is broken, or on the 128 in particular, when it's set to 80 columns mode. Let's see if that fixed it. Reset. Well, would you look at that. And that, my friends, is Turbo Tuesday. If you need anything repaired, restored, or modded, call your boy RetroByteMeister, retrobytemeister.com. Guys, for this next bit, I'm sorry, I lost the audio to the footage because my lapel mic apparently had a dead battery and I didn't notice. So I hope you don't mind that I'm voice-overing this. Friends, we have here a SSD drive, the one that says Kronos, and it came in from a customer who said he brought it to a repair shop. And, well, not sure what happened, but either them broke it, either the repair shop broke it, or he himself had an accident where he broke off the SATA port. Now, conveniently, I got a bunch of these drives here left over from a certain video we made recently, link in the description or up here in the corner. And, well, why don't we quickly swap the port and see what happens. Now we are done. It looks ugly, doesn't it always? But it's stable. So let's try to hook it up real quick and see what it does. And right off the bat, it's recognized as a 112 gigabyte drive, which is super. Time for us to look for some lost partitions real quick and see if we can recover some files. And unsurprisingly, here we are. The beautiful operating system has been restored. Great. If you need anything repaired, restored, or modded, call your boy RetroByteMeister at retrobytemeister.com. Welcome back to another riveting episode of Turbo Tuesday. Today on the bench we have this here Atari VCS. It is a VCS, not a 2600. It is the Taiwan version, and it looks like it's the late model cost-reduced one. So it's not a 6er, it's a 4. Anthony from Retro Gamers podcast owns this, and he gave it to me at LA Retro and said, Bastian, can you take a look at it? It has a grainy picture. And when I'm looking at this console, I think I know what the problem is. Can you guess what the problem is too? Let me give you a hint. Up there is a video of a system that we repaired with a similar issue. Guys, this here is not the original cable. It looks like an RCA cable, and frankly, it is an RCA cable, but it's the RCA cable that comes with the Atari normally. This is the cable that is attached to the console, and this is the cable that Atari usually uses. This is an original Atari cable. You notice the difference? That's right. The anode here sticks out a lot farther than on the original one. Which means if you plug this into an RCA jack like so, it'll be fine. It'll make contact just fine. But if you plug it into the console, it'll stick out a bit like this. So inside the console, the RCA jack is much more shallow, which means it sticks out and therefore doesn't make a good ground connection, which means in turn that it's just going to get very grainy picture. So let's just open it up and see what's lurking in the inside. We need this guy and we need that guy. Ooh, nice and clean the inside, comparatively speaking. And here we go. Yeah, friends, this is what I was talking about. This right there sticks out quite a bit. Yeah, this little poker here will only stick so far, and then you have a very small amount of ground here making the connection between the cable and the ground itself. So bye-bye, crappy cable. All right, so now if we plug in this cable here, see the shorter one with a short nub in here like this sticks in way farther in the RCA jack. And now I have a feeling if we turn this guy on, it'll work way better. Let's give that a try. Well, and there you have it, friends. Really good picture quality. I mean, for RF. RF is always a little dingy, right? Anyways, if you need anything repaired, restored, or modded, call your boy RetroByteMeister at retrobytemeister.com. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're trying to install a Game Gear IPS Screen update. And here's the rest of the Game Gear. Also recapped. I didn't have SMD caps, so, well, some of them, but not many. So we installed some ugly but working electrolytic caps for some of them. However, this one had a problem where there was a short that fried Q4 and Q3. We probably need a new screen on this. So first things first, I guess. Let's open up the screen case. Fresh from China came this little thing. Cable. Oh, okay, I understand. This is the part that will go onto the Game Gear itself. Then this will probably go into here, like so, I'm reckoning. Yup. It gets flipped around and mounted to the back here, and then all these go in there. All right, great. Let's free the Game Gear from its own prison. Alright kids, and this is how it's done. So it lines up like so. You see that there's like the little LCD 1 and there's an arrow pointing to here. I guess that's pin 1 for whatever reason. And then this needs to be aligned such that pin 9 aligns with, or the thing labeled 9 aligns with pin 9. So if you count it from here to there, that's 9, 16, 18, and 20, like so. 39 and 57. They're all, what I did is just add solder to the top and then strike it down a little bit, add a little bit of flux to bridge from the top to the bottom, and that works pretty okay. So that's actually pretty easy install over here. Also, I should say that don't be careful not to bridge any of the adjacent ones, which I didn't. GG, SMS, Game Gear, whatever that signal is called. VCC goes there, and ground goes there. Lines all perfectly up. Now, guide says from all the wire kits that we got, we don't need this guy here, the 6-wire one. We don't need it. Well, let's figure out where it goes. Be right back. But here we are. These are installed. This the red cable here goes on FB1, which is just north of the ASIC. We do need a jumper from the bottom of R23 to T10 right next to it. Yeah, and that's what we've done here. So let's take a look here. All right. That looks like it works just fine. Wow. And here's the finished product. Clean the behind of the screen. Turn her on. Wow, look how beautiful that turns out to be. Can turn the contrast wheel works, which is more like a brightness wheel now. Sound works. Oh yes, nice and bright. like this. Look at this. Beautiful colors. Friends, if you need anything repaired, restored, or modded, call your boy RetroByteMeister at retrobytemeister.com. Bye.